a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Well, actually, it was a few weeks ago now, and it's still a behind the scenes episode, y'all. Hello, everybody. It's Chris here. Yeah, so we couldn't get our schedules synced up because January is just a very insane month. But a few of the cast members got together and they talked about some Star Wars. So the episodes are pretty great, and we wanted to have some content available to you all. So here is more of Hope, Jess, Charles, and Colton.
So one thing is we asked a lot of our wonderful Discord Discord listeners, to give us some questions, and as always, they are fantastic and they came through. We might not get to everybody's questions, but there's a few things that I wanted to talk about. Two of these kind of go hand in hand with each other. So Dr. Geekery and Anne both asked about our fashion styles for our characters. Dr. Geekery said, how do you decide the fashion sense for each of your FLAD characters? And Anne said, Anne is great, by the way. It makes Lego scenes of our characters, and they're fantastic. We love it. And Anne said, I'm working on the Squonk Crew Lego. Do you have requests for looks, outfits, and accessories?
And you can see those Legos if you join our Discord, which is free. There is no Patreon. There is no paywall. You don't
even have to talk to us.
You don't have to talk to us. You can join the Discord. It is in the link for the show notes. And we post it all the time everywhere. So if you want to actually see these fantastic fucking Legos that Anne does.
Just message one. Yeah, and just message one of us if you can't find it, and we'll be like, "Hey,
we'll tell you. We'll tell you where it is. We'll show you. We'll send you the link.
We'll throw it at you. We'll stick it to a brick and then hit an Imperial with
it. I think Zero is the most likely to hit an Imperial with a brick.
No, it's so true.
I will say, I'm very bummed that Robin's not here, because I wrote my favorite question in the doc, which is, from Zero's point of view, what is Star Wars? And I'm so bummed that Robin is not here for that.
Get Robin to record the response and then edit that response in.
I'm thinking about putting a pin in and just asking them at the beginning of next session when we're all together and be like, Robin, you missed this question, because I was so excited to hear what Zero thinks Star Wars is so far from their experience in For Light and Dice. So everybody, what did you choose for your fashion choices and why?
Jedi cosplay. Like, Yariel genuinely wears Jedi cosplay. Not Jedi robes.
Did you just say Yariel or Coriel?
Yeah, I was like,
Coriel, sorry. Sorry. Coriel specifically wears Jedi cosplay. He doesn't wear exact Jedi robes, because then he might, he doesn't want to get charged with impersonating a Jedi. But he wears, robes that give off Jedi vibes. And, if he has to do a Force trick, people just assume, right? He never stated, ever, that he's a Jedi. But, people just believe, and those robes help. So does the lightsaber hanging off his belt.
Don't think I didn't notice that lightsaber doesn't have a kyber crystal, and that Lysander at the end of the Naboo arc got a kyber crystal.
I'm sure it won't come up.
I'm sure that this will not be in any way
you're
relevant.
Right! You're right!
Don't think I didn't notice that.
Chris?
Because I noticed that.
Oh my god!
Also, I'm not sure if I should say this, but I'm going to anyway. If Chris doesn't want this in the episode, he can cut it out.
Chris just bleeps it out like a minute of a bleep.
Long bleep.
But in FLAD canon, that Jedi lightsaber hilt belongs to Elzar Mann. Coriel and Elzar gambled for it. Coriel hid his force powers to trick Elzar into doing a Qui-Gon Jinn versus Watto scenario, and then turned it around on Elzar. But gave Elzar back the Kyber crystal because Coriel was like, this crystal didn't choose me.
That
I
makes
just
me,
want the hilt.
Just what the hell
makes-
here.
That makes me more like impressed that Gauze actually beat Coriel at dice than fair and square.
I know. Coriel is still like, that was weird.
It's the power of being the main character.
Yeah, no, that's
Yes,
fair.
yes. Well, I don't think we've actually mentioned this yet so far in the show, but Jess, didn't Lysander get like a character model upgrade
Yeah.
between seasons?
I also was like been like doodling, which I haven't posted any of those either, like trying to upgrade Lysander because I feel like he needs a little makeover. It's like him going through a midlife crisis.
Comes out with black hair.
Charles follows my private Twitter, so he saw where I joked. I was like, I'm gonna give Lysander blue hair and pronouns. What? No.
I think I contributed to that joke.
Yeah.
I think,
Like,
I think I was the one that was like, you should give him pink hair.
yeah, pink hair. No, oh my god, now I'm just thinking about Hikaru and Kaoru. Charles, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh no, we cannot get on Around High School Host Club, which badly needs an update.
Yeah,
It badly needs a remake with a different voice cast and
Does
some updated writing. Yes, it could be
But no-
very good. They just have to update the writing from the mid 2000s and get a different.
Sure.
Well, get one different voice cast member.
Yes,
But,
just the one.
Just the one.
That's why you watch it in Japanese.
But Lysander, technically I'd drawn him with a different outfit that I said would be his like season 2 outfit, which is more like it's still like the same color scheme because I'm just gonna. Why am I wanted to say I'm just gonna assume as if I'm not the one who controls and makes up everything about Lysander. No, Lysander. I'm gonna say Lysander's like favorite color is like that maroonish color that his like little capelet is. He doesn't have his capelet anymore, which I'm just like maybe I'll give it back to him. Maybe I won't, but he is wearing more of like a blazer moment.
To my recollection too, the season 1 quote unquote design was a little lighter and more white because of the shirt.
Oh yeah,
And now-
because his
now
like
it's-
turtleneck is like more of the light color, and now with his like blazer over top of it, it's like a darker color scheme.
Almost like he's less light side, but it's not quite dark side. It's moving in a different third direction.
A secret third thing.
A secret third thing.
Yeah,
Almost like that's being reflected in the visual design on purpose.
it wasn't on purpose. It's just me like sometimes looking at things and being like, I think that'd be a fun outfit. I still might give him a cape again. You know, a fun little cape moment, or a poncho, as is Star Wars tradition. Poncho.
Capes and ponchos.
Yeah.
I think every Star Wars character needs to wear at least one once. That's my Star Wars.
I have
hot take.
actually been eyeing a poncho for Gauze.
Yeah. Doesn't Zero also wear a poncho?
Zero wears a
They
poncho.
do, they do. But the one I ever since I this very short tangent. I love Digimon, and they recently had a movie come out with the O2 kids, who are my favorites, and I went to see it. And my favorite character, Yo Lee, has this really cute pink poncho in the movie. And like the moment I saw it, I was like, Gauze needs that.
Gauze needs a pink poncho.
It's very cute. It's very cute. Actually, I will send you a picture of it. Right, I will send you all. You can cut this out, Chris, because this is an audio medium. But I actually just said on Twitter that I wish that she could have something very similar to this. But I've actually, speaking of that, I'm actually in the process of waiting to get some artwork back for new artwork for Gauze. Because her choice right now was more practical. She wears like a little bomber jacket, and the jacket does have sentiment to her. But the artwork that I have being made for Gauze is where I want to get her. It's not where she is right now, but it's a goal of mine of where I want her to be. And something that nobody knows is Gauze actually has a really good sense of very high-end fashion.
I can see
And
that.
yeah, and I'm currently writing a story, and there are so far 4 different outfits,
Ooh.
from lake dress to ball gown. And this is Hope just likes dress porn.
See, this is why it was so sad that Lysander and Gauze didn't have a fun shopping moment on Naboo like Lysander and Wynn did.
I think it would have been a very shocking, surprising thing about that, though, because she also has a lot of negative feelings around that. But to answer the question, the reason that her current fashion sense is the way it is it's more practicality, and she gets her little bomber jacket because it was the very first thing she bought on Coruscant. So it does have a little sentiment to her. So, hey, why does Wynn dress the way they do?
Firstly, the only thing I could think of the entire time you were talking about the bomber jacket was, oh my god, Gauze is so Nico D'Angelo coded. Because that's just where my brain went. No, Wynn...
Haha, I don't know what that means.
If you know, you know.
Okay, as long as it wasn't bad, I guess.
No, it's very good.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't have to kick Charles on the call.
So, Wynn's design didn't go through a lot of iterations as far as why they dress the way they dress. Originally, I had pitched... So this is why generative AI art is trash garbage, and you should never use it. Also, it's incredibly morally wrong and unethical. But working
Hey, my friends have lost their jobs because of it. Thanks.
it's trash garbage. Don't use it. But if you contract an actual artist who knows what they're doing with their eyeballs and their experience and their brain, then you can get things like this. I had originally thought that Wynn's outfit was going to be more colorful, and particularly that it was going to include more deep lavender colors in it. Because I wanted...
Really?
It was going to be more
Wynn
colorful.
and lavender.
Sort of lavender
know.
and very deep violet colors in this outfit, because I wanted something that was kind of different than the Corellians that we'd seen. And when I got the concept art for Wynn, and I was working with Jordan, who was the concept artist who did the original concept art for Wynn, they tried to make it work, and they were like, look, this just isn't working. This just doesn't look good. Sorry. Like, I've tried and tried and tried, but with the skin tone that you've picked for this character, the color's great and it doesn't work. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So we switched over to doing a slightly different thing. Wynn dresses very, very sort of down-to-earth, sort of muddy colors, sort of dirt colors. And part of this is because Wynn is not a character who really likes to stand out. They're also a character who's kind of clobbed together their wardrobe over the course of this trip. So Wynn left the Buying Guild basically with the clothes they had on at the time, and have basically grabbed the first outfit they were able to vaguely afford to change out of, and that's what they've been wearing up until they got to Naboo. But it's these very dark colors, these brownish colors, in part because, one, I wanted to invoke Corellia, but two, I wanted to invoke a character who very specifically was in the underclass of this planet of Corellia. That when you think of a character who's from like a high society, high volume planet like that, you're going to think somebody who's more colorful, somebody who's more city slicker sort of person. And Wynn's not that. Like, the opening of the short story that I wrote for Wynn, that I promise we are one reveal away from me being able to post.
You're doing better than I am with my reveals. I don't know when I'm...
One reveal away.
I can't.
Opening literally talks about them playing in the dirt as the starting point for the character. So the idea that they come from this sort of, they are so low on the totem pole that they are on the literal fucking ground. on this basically city shipyard planet. And there's somebody that comes from, a working class family, a blue collar family, that their parents work in these industrial factories and these industrial plants, was something that I wanted to invoke with the character. And I think it's interesting to contrast that the two people who are from more rural areas, Lysander and Gauze, dress much more flamboyantly than the one character who's from one of the major metropolitan areas of the galaxy. And I think that shows these three characters the journey that they've been on to hit the point where their visual design communicates things about them, but also stands in some contrast to their backstory. You don't look at these characters and immediately identify this character. Well, I mean, Gauze is from Dragor 3, and we know that because she's a Gazo. But you don't immediately look at the characters and identify, oh, that's somebody who's from a farm. That's somebody who's from a city planet.
I also did have Coriel is also from a farming community originally.
Ooh.
Cause,
Let's go for farmers.
Because from everything I've read about Quirmia is that it still is very rural, like even in like Imperial days, because it's just like it is a perfectly created terraformed planet, because Quirmians are actually genetic experiments. The Zexto, which are the smaller long-necked four-armed species, where a bunch of them were taken, turned into Quirmians, and then put on like a perfectly terraformed garden planet, and then 50,000 years happened. That's kind of why Coriel is like so fancy, because he's trying to get away from being farmer.
So, I so badly, Chris, I'm throwing this out into the ether, want us to ride some sort of critter just to watch the city slicker have to struggle with it.
Dathomir Arc when?
I just do find it something, as you were talking, like, because dirt and earth is actually something very, like, I don't want to say sacred to Gauze, but it's something that's very personal because her family does own a farm. And so, like, it's like being on Coruscant for so long where there's really just no earth. There's no ground. There's no grass. There's no any of that. That, like, I'm actually really excited to get her on Lysatra, actually, because it's very, very similar probably to her home, for her just to, like, lay out in dirt and grass and just be like, yes! Versus, like, when he was just like, ugh. So, I don't know. I find it fascinating.
Also, before we move on to the next question, I do want to directly answer Anne's question. The Sarlacc lava lamp. I would like there to be a tiny lava lamp in the background of some of these photos, because the lava lamp is just sort of there, and I have to imagine it's like fucking bolted to the cockpit at this point.
It has to at this point. It has to be. Gauze feels actually really bad about almost wanting to sacrifice Wynn's lava lamp. There's a lot of things that Gauze hasn't apologized for that she has internalized, and that's one of them.
The lava lamp is a thing, because Anne is very, very good at recreating the energy of these scenes almost exactly. And like some scenes when we'll have like the calf cup. That's the other thing. I don't know if this is a thing. But specifically the iced coffee cup, that would be another thing. Would be the iced coffee cup as opposed to just the regular coffee cup.
After taking all the damage in the last couple sessions from Wynn, she wants to take back her world's best pilot cup from like mark it out.
Just
Wynn's ability. Wynn is interesting as a pilot, just because I didn't want to play a character who necessarily was the best at piloting all the time, because I think this is a thing with Star Wars that characters, when they have a specific job, you tend to want them to be the best at whatever that job is, or at least really good at it. Wynn is a very, very, very good pilot. They have a natural skill for it. There are some handicaps that they have, particularly the squonk. I think that the squonk has done a really good job of reining in sort of Wynn's natural piloting ability, because now they have to contend with a ship that hates them, that they also kind of hate back, and that's not always going to behave or do the things that Wynn wants it to do. So I think that's been something interesting to play with this pilot character, to have to deal with this situation that most pilots in the galaxy are not going to have to deal with.
I will say that Wynn and the Squonk's enemies to lovers
No,
is a topic that I'm bringing up later. I actually have it in my notes.
No, we're not talking about cargo
on
ship.
the trolley.
Not cargo ship!
Just know that in our Discord server, that once again we're saying that you should join.
They are the best.
They were like joking and saying, "Oh yeah, the enemies to lovers." Wynn
Somebody
and the
tagged
Squonk.
me.
And
Somebody tagged me, and I was like, we don't need to talk about cargo ship here.
Yeah, freaking Charles naming the ship and being like, "We don't need to talk about cargo ship."
I'm going to actually say later on we have a question that says, what has been each player's favorite off-the-wall discussion? For me, it was that. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was not expecting to open the Discord server and then scroll through that conversation and be like, what?
I fully expect.
Y'all made my night.
I think we need to move on to the next question.
We do. So it's from Jaina. And is there anything that you guys struggle with as players? I will open this up. I actually struggle with active listening. I'm a very visual person. I'm not an audio person at all. Which is why, in not the last session, but the one before, I completely missed that the Dark Side Force statue was actually a statue.
And not a box.
I kept hearing box. It's like a box, and I was so confused why we were just not opening a box. I did not, and it wasn't until I listened to the episode again, I was like, that's a statue! So about 2 weeks, I was just very confused by all my other players because I just did not understand the choices that were being made. Because I am not very good at processing audio. So that, Jana, is the thing that I struggle the most with. So I have to very actively listen, and it takes up a lot of my brain power. But what about everybody else? What do you struggle with while playing?
Dice that don't do what I want.
Well, I can't help you there.
Fun
Aren't
fact.
you supposed to max min your skills for that?
Well, yeah, but sometimes the dice do what the dice do. I actually had a recent other TTRPG character death that just happened, so it's not just this game.
I do want to, and I'm gonna ask this honestly. Is there a thing in TTRPGs where players can have like death mulligans or something? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk, like, when One N died, I think it could have been very easy if I was like, One N backed up on the One N 2000, and then a new One N is produced, right, and just kept playing One N. But I was like, I want to see what else I can do. Most DMs, if they're nice, will be like, they'll come up with something to not have you actually die.
Okay.
I had one character that died and then forged a warlock pact for like this evil entity to like bring them back to life, and that added a new interesting thing, right? Like there's a lot of things you can do. It's just
Okay.
you gotta talk to your DM.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was taboo. Anyway, everybody else, what do you struggle with?
One thing that I struggle with is having information that the character does not, and making sure that I'm making sure that my character is acting on the information that the character possesses, not I as the player possess. So, for example, one thing that I thought about was, like with the last episode, Wen firing the first time. Because if Wen had known that there was people on that, they would not have fired so quickly on it when Coriel called. But because Wen doesn't know that information, when fired on the thing. Even though I, as the player, knew that information. I knew that there was people on the pod, but the character doesn't. So the character is gonna fire. Or even just, emotional beats, like making sure that Wynn is not acting upon a scene that I have heard, but they did not. It's something that I've gotten pretty okay proficient at, but it's still something I have to check myself occasionally and say, okay, the character does not know this.
Damn. I feel like I'm very much like you, Hope, where it's also like I have trouble with like actively listening to. That might be because of my ADHD, but
Hey!
that's why a lot of the time, if y'all ever see me making stupid tweets also while we're actively recording, it's because I need to be doing multiple stuff at once. Where it's like, Hope, you said you need to like spend all your energy to like focus and listen. Me, I have to be doing multiple things at once for me to like be able to focus. Because if I start to sit and do one thing for too long, my brain will be like, ooh, it's
I
time
feel
to be
you.
one and two.
I have like a little anxiety thing that I twist, but I try not to twist it because I don't want my microphone to pick it up. And I click pins a lot. I'm a pin clicker, and I am just like having to do it away from the microphone so it doesn't make Chris's life a nightmare.
Oh,
So
yeah.
no, I feel you on that.
In fairness to Jess, the reason that we see all of the unhinged stuff that they post on Twitter during our sessions is because many of us are also on Twitter while recording.
I also, yeah, I try to sit as still as possible when recording because I don't want to make a lot of noise because I like feel self-conscious and I'm like, sorry, Chris.
So this is just a big apology to Chris. We are so sorry for all the noises.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
not eat shit.
But yeah, mine is also just trying to actively listen because then I will miss something too and I act like I know what's going on, but I don't, like half the time.
I'm
At least
worse.
you didn't do what I do with when God's just trying to break a statue thinking it's a box. So.
I'm worse in another game because I play an investigative character. I play a
God.
character whose whole thing is like looking into stuff.
Yeah,
But
trying
I'm
to
an
have a
idiot.
character like that too.
I'm a stupid idiot person. So one of our DMs will be like, "Did you figure out all the clues?" And I'm like, "No, I'm a dumb. I'm an idiot.
No, because
What did I miss?"
I also have like another TTRPG character who is like a detective. This is like a Pathfinder game. And it's funny because his name is Law Justice and he's a detective. I don't know. I'm just like,
That is the best name!
why did I do this? And I'm fucking dumbass over here. When it's just like, oh, Law, did you figure it out? Me, Jess, the player, like, hold on. I was not paying attention, so I have no idea what's happening.
So
So our next question definitely seems like
I'm still laughing at Law Justice.
Yeah, sorry, Law
our next
Justice.
question is very appropriate to this topic of conversation that's currently happening.
Hey, what has been everyone's favorite off-the-wall discussions? Thank you, Hypnotic Nurse. By the way, I'm using everyone's Discord names because I don't have permissions to use real names because we love you. So if it's cool if I use your real name in the future, just let me know. What's everyone's favorite off-the-wall discussions, or how often do we get off topic during sessions?
Constantly.
Constantly. all
It's
the
like
time.
90% of our recording.
Actually, no, I'm gonna walk that back because
I walk it back too, because we usually chat for sometimes 30 minutes to an hour before we start recording, and I feel like we get a lot of it out of there.
yeah, I can speak to. So 3 of the 4 people in this call currently have podcasts. Myself, Hope, and Jess. Colton has been a guest on my podcast multiple times. So I feel like when I say this, I feel like there may not be as much disagreement. Recording for Light and Dice. So from the moment we hit record, to the moment we hit stop, we stay more on track than any podcast I have thus far recorded or heard having been recorded. And I think it's because, one, as Hope mentioned, we talk for like an hour ahead of time. But also, two, I think it's because the nature of the game. That we're focused on playing this game, and that we've got to keep our attention, we've got to keep the momentum going, as opposed to...
And we want to play it, we want to play.
Right. As opposed to when Colton and I are talking about Death Troopers, and Colton has to be treated to 20 minutes of explaining what an MMO is, what patches are, and the state of zombie media in 2007 before we can understand, which to be fair was not for Colton, it was mostly for Bradley, who was editing, but we don't have to have that, nor do we wander off on a tangent to talk about Magic the Gathering for 20 minutes that Bradley then has to edit out. I don't know, Jess, would you say that you guys tangent more on Rue Palps than we do on Perlite and Does?
They don't fucking listen to this podcast. Fucking, so I can say whatever I want. They won't know. No one snitch on me. Yeah, those motherfuckers, they go off on tangents all the time. And then it always ends up being me, which is funny because, like, I'm the one who's also zoning out, like, half the time. But then when I zone back in and realize they're going off on tangents, I'm just like, can we fucking not? Can we get back to the point of the movie? Or whatever the fuck is happening. So I am used to tangents, although, yeah, we, like Charles said, we're pretty good at getting it all out before we jump in, and then we can stay focused for the most part.
I will say, because I was laughing going into this question, I do just want to read the whole question, because the question's beautiful. So the whole question was, how often do y'all get off topic during your sessions and realize you've been discussing the improbable mating dance of Rancor for the last 45 minutes? This is a fantastic question. Thank you.
In fairness, the times that we do tangent that end up having to get cut out, a lot of times do have to do with, hold on, let's go check Wikipedia and or the Essential Atlas of Species.
Or Charles having to explain to me what poppers are.
It was me and Chris. Look, I feel like that conversation was prescient and ahead of its time, because now I can just say, go watch Troye Sivan's Rush video. It's basically that.
Can I also say, Wynn and Lysander never probably got us her poppers. Just saying. She did not get her poppers.
Okay.
They were not given to her.
I feel like Wynn probably has more poppers or not, but Wynn. I feel like Lysander has more poppers than Wynn does.
This is a terrible conversation.
Moving on. All right.
Remember, this is an E for explicit podcast, everyone. I have to say that since Chris
You know what?
isn't here.
Why don't we move on? Thank you, Hypnotic Nurse, for this. I think this goes into my favorite off-the-wall discussions. We're just going to move on completely. Unless anybody had, like, a really pressing thing for off-the-wall discussions.
No, I think the poppers one takes the cake.
I think internally within the show itself and not in the Discord, the poppers one is infamous. Even though that didn't even happen on like recording, we had to explain to Hope off recording what poppers were.
I think my favorite part of that, though, was there was a pause, and then Charles went, "Are you taking notes?"
Oh, yeah. That happened.
Because I was taking notes. I like learning things. Don't at me. Oh my gosh.
Look, it's important. It's important if you write smut fan fiction to know different aspects of how these things can operate.
I do, especially because I write Comac and Cantum fanfiction. Anyway.
And you should definitely read Fire and Thread on AO3.
Thank you so much. Without spoilers, everybody, what is something that you're really excited about your character? I'm gonna choose a random person. Oh, Jess made a noise first. Jess, you go first.
No, because I thought it was a stupid answer, not a legit answer.
Say it.
The stupid answer was like the Lysander and Marcion Rowe date and poppers.
Yes.
Lysander in his Troye Sivan Rush era,
No.
explaining poppers to Marcion Rowe.
Well, I have to think about a legit answer. Come back to me.
Oh, Colton,
We should
go.
not be allowed to
Oh,
podcast at all.
Like, this isn't a spoiler, because I don't actually think it's going to happen, though Chris is editing this, and it might be putting ideas into his head. But, I really want Coriel and Yariel to meet, if only for the confusion. 'Cause, like, I think it would be funny. But other than that, I don't really have anything. Coriel's just kind of going with the flow as of right now, so there's not necessarily a thing.
Charles.
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 Oh my gosh, just wait till we get to the back half of this. Charles, without spoilers, what is something you're excited about for your character?
One of the interesting things for me for Win is that they didn't set out necessarily with the same level of ambition that I think some of the other characters have. Like, some of the characters have very, very clear, like, goals that they're going for, particularly Zero. You know, the goal is figure out where Zero comes from. Or somebody like Lysander, whose goal is very much learn more about the Force and develop as a person. Wynn doesn't have those same, like, direct ambitions. Like, their only thing when they started out was they eventually wanted to buy the ship out from under everybody else. That has kind of gone away. So what's interesting for me now, and what I'm excited to see, is just sort of where Wynn goes as a character, because Wynn is very... I don't know. I don't know is the truthful answer as to where this character is going. I'm just curious to see what they get up to. I am excited to dive a little bit more. Now that they're opening up a bit, I am excited to maybe dive a little bit more into other elements of their backstory that weren't their time with the Bind Guild. Like I've mentioned on a previous BTS episode, I've mentioned, like, there's a really interesting dynamic that they have with their family. There is, again, a major element of their backstory that I desperately want to be revealed on the show that I don't want to say in a BTS episode, but it is very fun for me. Or even things like I talked about in the Discord, like the idea that Wynn has not always identified as non-binary, and how that happened, how that journey ties into their character. So that would be something I'm excited for, is how learning more about this character and seeing where this character goes hand in hand with more about their backstory and why they are the way they are being explored.
Jess, you ready, or you want me to go?
You can go first.
Okay, one thing that I'm really excited about is actually putting a ball into Chris's court. I am very excited about this character that I've created in Gauss's backstory. And this character is someone I just can't wait to see how Chris plays this person. Because this person could either be like a very dark ally, making a deal with the devil kind of person. This person could be a really cutthroat villain, like Marcion Rowe level of chaos kind of villain. This character could be very helpful if they want to be. This person could not care at all. They could also be a very nice person. And I purposely wrote this character to give Chris as many avenues possible to play this person. It could be a mix of all of it. Like, and I don't know how Chris is going to play this person. And I'm very excited for that. Because I like this character a lot, and I can't wait to see this character. And I think this character could be very fun, but it could this person could either be a really good ally or our worst nightmare. And I'm very excited. And Chris, I also have pictures now for you if you wish to have them. So, and I won't say more than that, but I love them very much. So that is my thing that I'm very excited about because, yeah. All right, Jess, I can't put you off anymore.
Yeah.
Come on, Space Troy Sivan, it's your turn.
No. Okay. No. I think what I'm looking forward to is definitely the edgy part of me is just like maybe I want Lysander to have a little I am evil for a bit moment, but then through the power of love and friendship realizes no, never mind. Sorry, it was just a phase, Mom.
Kaz would be like, "That's fine, dear.
No.
Your hair looks nice.
Gus is like, I support you regardless.
I dyed my feathers blue one time. I feel you."
Yeah, but I also like I keep saying, Chris can't keep hiding Marcion Rowe from me forever, so that's also what I'm looking forward to. Like, we're so close. The fact that like Lysander was not on the ship when the rest of them got to talk to Marcion. Granted, they didn't know it was Marcion, but it was just like, dang it.
Can you imagine what would happen if Chris accidentally rolls bad and we have a good roll? We accidentally like blow up Marcion Rowe and save the universe.
Oh, it'd be great.
We
That
get
would be
Lorna.
so
We get
funny.
Lorna D as the main villain, which is worse somehow.
Yeah, that would be.
Speaking of villains, I want to know who this mysterious person is.
Yeah.
With Obsidian.
Who is
There's a
Obsidian's master? Like, what's going on there?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of interesting like mystery and intrigue. Here's one of the fun things about For Light and Dice is that there are elements we know if you've experienced the High Republic that are mysteries to people who don't. Like there are people who listen to the show that I know for a fact do not listen to any other Star Wars. They don't read any other Star Wars. They don't watch any other Star Wars. They don't care. They don't even like Star Wars, but they like me, so they're watching the show or listening to the show. And they're following along, but there's things that are mysteries to them, like what was going to happen with the Legacy run. And I was talking with them a little bit. I'm not going to say who it was, but I was talking to them a little bit about. They were like, "Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on during the Great Hyperspace Disaster. Like I knew enough to know what was happening." But that was a mystery to me in a way that it would not have been to, somebody else. But at the same time, there's stuff in the narrative that Chris is crafting and the narrative that Chris is telling alongside of us that are mysteries to everyone. I thought I knew who the mysterious voice was.
Yeah, me too.
I thought I knew, and I was wrong. So it's a story that's so well crafted that I think it can be experienced by anyone, regardless of you can be an expert like me in the High Republic, or you can be somebody who has never even watched a Star Wars before in your life and get the same thing, which I think it speaks very highly to Chris's DMing experience. I can only say nice things about Chris when he's not here. That's the thing. I can only say nice things when he's not present. But I think it does speak to his understanding, both as a game master running the game for the players, but also someone who's sort of being an MC or a sort of a master of ceremonies for the entire audience as well. And I think he has a very strong understanding of that and what both groups of people need in order to make this show work.
I have to be honest, it's really weird getting a compliment from Charles, but I appreciate it. Anyway, y'all, we certainly hope you enjoy listening to this hilarious conversation, a little bit more behind-the-scenes trivia, and also probably a lot of TMI moments. Just a quick reminder, this is a E for explicit podcast. Everybody, if you like the music that we use for the show, please check out Grushkov. They have composed a ton of really amazing music based on the High Republic and other things, so definitely check them out. I'm actually using their music right now for my D&D game, so if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check them out. They're available Spotify, YouTube, and other places where you can actually purchase their music outright. Once again, y'all, if you want to hang out with us, you can find our Twitter account at For Light and Dice, and there is a link on that profile that goes directly to our Discord. It is free for anybody that's fans of the show. Definitely come join and hang out with us and the community of people that have been supporting us. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast platform, be it Apple, Spotify, Google, all of them. And that's basically it, y'all. Thank you so much, and may the Force be with you.